and welcome to another academic year at UWM. Today is a day of firsts for me. It's the first time I'm giving a plenary here in the Zlazo Center. It's the first time I'm giving a plenary without the use of teleprompters. And unfortunately, it's also the first time I'm opening my plenary with some significant challenges facing our campus. Now, these challenges have come in several different forms. As many of you are aware, the very core principles of our system, shared governance, are being questioned by state legislators. First, I want to let you know and make it clear that I want to be a chancellor and not a CEO of a college campus. I embrace shared governance because I believe it promotes a dialogue on campus so that every voice can be heard. It allows us to investigate all potential options when they're considering important aspects of decisions that affect our future. Now, there are some in the state legislature that believe shared governance slows down our university and keeps us from doing things. And I have to tell you, in my time of chancellor, I have found just the opposite to be true. Our shared governance process has allowed us to be effective and efficient in all major decisions concerning campus. In fact, I can honestly say there's oftentimes been policies and procedures outside of this campus that have slowed us down. Now, the second major challenge facing our campus deals with our biennial budget. The last time I stood in front of you, I was able to talk about how the state was going to invest $181 million into the UW system. Boy, how things changed. In the wake of the Legislative Audit Bureau announcing a $1 billion surplus at the UW system campuses, public opinion swelled against the universities. And we, as a campus, had to defend our cash reserve balances, which we were able to do because we had $72 million of our $92 million in cash forward balances were set aside and allocated for the capital projects of the Milwaukee Initiative. Now, unfortunately, our defense didn't work too well. And looking at this year's biennial budget, we have a $6.9 million budget cut in this year and an ongoing $8.2 million base budget reduction over next year and beyond. Now, the good news is that in this first year, we were able to use cash reserves and $4 million we've been able to save through energy conservation on our campus to address the cuts. We were doing this because, first, we did not have time to plan for the budget cuts. And second, we wanted to keep all courses and sections open, both in the fall and spring semesters. But I am going to be very honest. Over the next year and beyond, these cuts are going to be very challenging for us. And I've reported in the past that we are one of the leanest and most efficient campuses in the country. In 2010, the Goldwater Institute did a report that showed between their spendings per student, our instructional staff to student ratio, and our administrative staff to student ratio, we were one of the most efficient campuses in the country. So when we talk about future cuts, they're really going to hurt. Now, to help guide us through the next 2 years in the budget challenges we're facing, I have charged Provost Britz and Interim Vice Chancellor Robin Van Harpen to work with governance groups to develop a strategy for implementing the cuts. I'm very pleased that they have developed some guiding principles on how we begin to have the conversation about how these will be implemented. These principles include minimizing the impact on core campus activities, looking for more efficiencies to save money on campus, investing strategically in areas that increase our revenue, and find ways to equitably cut across all campus units. Now, in spite of these cuts, I am still going to continually advocate for more resources on our campus. The first of these is around the Economic Development Incentive Grant Program, a $22.5 million program that the state has put forward to help drive the economy of the state. I'm working very closely with Interim Provost Mark Harris and a group of faculty and staff on campus to develop 5 proposals. I am very excited to say that we have a lot of support from both the corporate and community leaders on our proposals. And I couldn't be prouder of our faculty that are working on these proposals. Not only have they been giving up their Sundays to come work with us on campus to develop these proposals, but these proposals are extremely high quality and worthy of funding. They inspire me, as leader of this campus, to continue to work forward to make this campus better. Several chancellors and myself are starting a dialogue about the way tuition and GPR is allocated to the college campuses. The current process or model that is used for allocating campus GPR and tuition is decades old and was developed in a time before UWM had significant enrollment and research growth. Now, as you can see behind me, there is not a lot of rhyme or reason as to the way the GPR is currently being allocated within the system. And so myself and the other leaders are discussing ways that we can actually align the way GPR is allocated to meet the goals of the state and the system and make Wisconsin stronger. We are also in the silent phase of a comprehensive campaign for campus. This campaign is called Vision 2020. Vice Chancellor Pat Borg and myself are committed to trying to raise a record $40 million for our campus this year. These funds couldn't be more timely in light of our budget situation. Now, the final challenge I want to bring to you today is something that we discussed last fall. I stood in front of you and said if we did not change our enrollment, we'd be looking at 25,500 students on our campus by 2015. Unfortunately, I must stand in front of you today that for the 3rd straight year, we have a smaller freshman class and a smaller overall enrollment. And although the final numbers are not out yet, we believe there will be about 1,000 less students on our campus this year than last year. Now, this enrollment drop has significant implications when you think about our budget. When you look at the tuition and fees that 1,000 less students bring to the campus, we're looking at about $11 million reduction in the overall budget to our campus this year. Now, there are a lot of reasons for these reductions. Primarily the fact that the demographics of high school graduates in the state is going down. It's been on downward trend and will continue to 2018. And Madison this year took in more Wisconsin residents than they have in previous years. We believe a significantly larger number. Now, regardless of why we see our enrollment trends, we all must continue to work hard to reverse and bring more students to our campus. This summer, we hired 6 new recruiters for our campus to recruit both here in Wisconsin and our surrounding states. We also brought a group called Target X TWM to be a secret shopper and go on our campus tour. In a report that Target X gave us, they highlighted several areas which we could have significant improvement to our campus tour. And this is important because there's a direct correlation between the campus tour and if a student matriculates to a campus. In fact, it is the highest correlation factor. So we have been strategically addressing each of the issues raised in Target X to ensure that when students and their families come to campus, they are impressed by us. We're also changing the way we are marketing our campus. We are using the city of Milwaukee as a reason that students should enroll here. Milwaukee is a great city with a lot to offer. And so when you see our marketing materials and when students come to campus, we're using the city as a way to sell them on UWM. We are continuing using the city to recruit a more diverse population on our campus. Underrepresented groups represent a growth opportunity for us because that is the population base that is growing. And as you can see, we continue to enroll more diverse students on our campus. In fact, we continue to be the most diverse campus in the state of Wisconsin. We are also focusing on recruiting students from outside the state of Wisconsin. We have a target to get to 15% out-of-state students. And this year, we rolled out something called the Milwaukee Advantage to attract high-performing students from states surrounding Wisconsin that are part of the Midwest Compact. Now, these students, when they apply, immediately get a $1,000 scholarship to come to UWM. Now, this $1,000 scholarship actually makes UWM competitive in a cost perspective to in-state tuition at our surrounding states, especially Illinois. As you can see, we have a record number of out-of-state students on our campus this fall. And so I'm very pleased with the efforts we've made, and we hope to make even better strides in years to come. We are also making an effort to recruit more international students. We have a target enrollment of 10% of our student body being international by the year 2018. We are engaging our faculty who come from all over the world in strategies on how we recruit and integrate students into our campus. And again, as you can see, for the sixth straight year, we have increased the number of international students on our campus. We have 13% more, and we'll be close to 1,400 international students this year. These efforts are very important to the future of our campus. We are also trying to better support the students who come here by having new traditions that better engage them to campus and help them be more successful. This year, we had a welcome week. We had a chancellor's welcome and a dinner on Space Plaza. Now, as you can see, we had over 2,000 students on the lawn of Mitchell Hall, where we had a short program, and we all gave them a coin that said the class of 2017. And as we finished up the program and they walked over to Space Plaza for dinner, we asked them to make a goal for themselves over the next 4 years and to throw that coin into the fountain next to the library. We collected all the coins backed up, and we are going to give those coins back to the students when they walk across the stage at commencement in 2017. Now, even though our freshman class is a little smaller this year, their spirit and commitment to our campus is undiminished. And I just want to show a very brief video that highlights Welcome Week and what it meant to the students.
I wanna walk into the mall, tell them that I'll take it home. Hey, dropping from the rooftop, what's gonna break my fall? Hey, I think I might go on and on. I might go on and on. I think it's gonna go on and on. Hey,
we cut the legs off of our pants, threw our shoes into the ocean. Sit back and wait through the daylight. Sit back and wait through the daylight. Slip and slide on subway grades. These shoes are poor man's ice skate. Fall through like change in the daylight.
Berg representative, I need y'all behind me, cause it's all. Tell them that I'll take it all. Hey, dropping from the rooftop, what's gonna break my fall? I think I might go on and on for it. I think this could go on and on for it. I wanna walk into the store, I'll take everything and more. Travel around the world, places I ain't been before. I think I might go on and on for it. I think this could go on and on for it.
Clearly, I believe our freshman class are enjoying their experience so far at UWM. Now, we all know that enrollment is the biggest challenge facing our campus, and it's something that we all must work on addressing this year and the years to come. And we can all be part of that. Obviously, this Division of Academic Affairs and Student Affairs are going to continue to work together to engage all of campus and set the priorities on how we're going to target our enrollment growth. Because we already have dozens of different programs for increasing our enrollment on our campus, I have asked Interim Dean of the School of Education, Barb Daly, to lead an effort to develop our first comprehensive enrollment plan for the campus. And we're going to have her work very closely with Strategic Planner Mark Money on our campus to make sure that that enrollment plan directly integrates with our strategic plan going forward. Now, in spite of all our challenges and things that are difficult for campus, our faculty and staff and students continue to do fabulous things. Our Best Place to Work initiative has been something that I've been very excited about. And we've started to have some Best Place to Work champions, people who have been nominated by their peers because they make the workplace a better environment. We've actually been overwhelmed by the nomination packets that have come in. It's been very difficult to choose these individuals. And I would just like to ask, there's 10 that we've given out so far. If any of them really aren't safe, can you please stand up and be recognized? We certainly appreciate all your efforts to make this a better place. The Best Place to Work initiative has also started some quick wins that you've submitted to campus, and we've been able to take action on them. Some of these include more bike racks on campus, a bike repair station in the Union, and more picnic tables across campus. All governance groups last year also passed a campus code of conduct for faculty and staff. This code of conduct holds us all accountable for our actions and ensures that we all have a safe and positive workplace environment. We've had some tremendous press about our UW Flex option, which we've developed on our campus. Just a few short weeks ago, President Obama mentioned this in his speech, and clearly this competency-based educational program is best in class in the country, and we should all be very proud of the efforts of those on campus that have helped develop it. Now, in spite of the fact that our base budget and GPR have been reduced, the state continues to invest in capital projects on campus. In fact, this year we'll be executing almost $1/3 billion in capital projects. Many of these projects are going to be nearing their completion this year or completed this year. The Northwest Quadrant, if you've been by lately, you'll see that the Children's Center is nearing completion and will have occupancy in December. We also have several new classrooms going in that will be state-of-the-art and provide new learning opportunities for our students. It's great to see cranes on campus. The Kenwood IRC is coming up out of the ground and really represents an important icon for the future of our campus. It should be done in early 2015. The School of Freshwater Sciences' $53 million addition is changing the skyline of the Inner Harbor. This project will be done a little over a year from now and will provide unprecedented opportunities for our students, faculty, and staff. Innovation Campus is our first building will be completed in February, and our faculty, staff, and students are beginning the process of getting ready to move in. And finally, just a little over about 2 weeks ago, we were part of the opening of the Global Water Center in the 5th Ward. We are the biggest tenant in this building, and we have faculty that have already moved in. And I can just tell you, this building and this project is going to help transform Milwaukee. Many of you are involved in campus planning. As I talked to the provost, I believe we've had up to 50 retreats over the last few years in terms of the planning that's going on our campus. I want to thank everyone who's been involved in those efforts. But they are finally starting to come to a close. The academic units, academic plans are due in December, and they will be integrated and finalized in January. Strategic planning will then integrate the academic plan and hopefully come to conclusion of May of this year. And our new budget model working group is working on 2 alternative models that they're going to present to campus so we can look at them. Now, when I consider our path forward, I think we should all consider that both U.S. higher education and our university are evolving due to tremendous external pressures that are going on in higher education. But I believe that it is important that as we evolve, we remember what we stand for as an institution. So when you think about our path forward, we understand that external forces may be able to reduce our resources, but they can't take away what we believe in and our hope for the future. Now, I believe that the U.S. higher education system is the crown jewel of our country. Citizens from around the world countries from around the world send their citizens to our country to be educated in our system. In fact, when you look at the world rankings, the vast majority of the top 50 universities in the world are in the U.S. And why is that? Because we are the one country in the world that still has root in a strong liberal arts education. Now, we may have all heard about the skills gap, and there are pressures on our university, like all universities, to train more students in STEM fields and targeted areas where there's projected growth. but we can't ever lose sight of our responsibility to educate the entire individual into global citizens. This was highlighted to me in a recent article by Thomas Friedman in the New York Times, where he said there are no more developed and developing countries in the world anymore. Only highly imagination-enabling countries and low imagination-enabling countries, or countries that innovate and countries that don't innovate. And I believe for us to continue to innovate as a country, we must still focus on the liberal arts. And this was really highlighted to me, the idea about having a global citizen, during two things that happened this summer. The first was at the 40-year anniversary of Kikomon that was held here in Wisconsin, where we were blessed to get a $1 million gift for our School of Freshwater Sciences. And at this celebration, they had an economic summit where they had some of the top economists in the world speaking about the state of their economics within their countries. And Ryoko Sujita, one of the top economists from Japan, spoke about how Japan's economy had been stagnant for the last 20 years. I mean, he wanted to say there was a couple of major things that they needed to do as a country to help their economy improve. The first one was that they needed more gender equity, but the second one, and more importantly, he said, they had to change their higher educational system to focus on the liberal arts because their country needed a workforce that was more creative and innovative. Secondly, Pat Borger and I recently met with the CEO of one of the major organizations here in the city. And the CEO, as many CEOs do when I meet with them, began the conversation by telling me how I should be running the university. And he specifically said that we should not be educating students in fields where there are no jobs, particularly those in the humanities and the arts. And as the conversation went on towards the end, Pat said to the CEO, so what skills can we better produce on our graduates so that they can be better your workforce as a company? And the CEO said, well, the most important skills we need today for our workforce are those that have excellent oral and written communication skills, the ability to work in teams, and strong critical thinking and problem-solving skills. And so as Pat and I walked out of the meeting, we looked at each other and discussed the thing that he criticized us for when we walked in the door was the same thing he wants as employees of the future. So obviously, as a community, we need to do a better job of educating the importance of the liberal arts and humanities in terms of the educational system we have at our campus. So in closing, I believe there is no reason why this campus can't produce more STEM graduates by still focusing on a strong liberal arts education. Actually, I know we can. I've seen what this campus can do, our faculty and staff, with very minimal resources. You're doing great things. In fact, when I talk to community and alumni, when I'm out and about, I say that the faculty and staff on this campus are the most innovative and entrepreneurial that I've ever worked with in my career. I say that you make me proud to be chancellor of this university. And finally, I want to remind us all why we're here, for our students. As shown in the picture in Mitchell Hall, we have thousands of students that have come here to our campus because they have hopes and aspirations for their future. And to close, I'm going to have a video which talks about our international students who have come here and going to tell you why they came here from around the world to come to UWM to ensure that they will have a better future.
1, 2, 3, 4.
The affluence of international students and people from international background is just growing here.
People right here, they are very friendly,
very diverse.
And people are willing to help you if you get confused or if you get lost.
You feel like, you are a part of the community.
There are so many opportunities that are open up for you.
I love here a lot.
UWM has a strong focus on internationalization. When we think about the fields that our students are going into, all of them need a global perspective. We have over 60,000 corporate entities within the 7-county region around us. That's 2 companies for every one of our students on our campus. Our students have unprecedented opportunities to really make an impact on others' lives while they're still students here on our campus.
I am interning at Johnson Controls. I'm working with a global team, and what we do is that we try to standardize accounting processes all across the world. It's an invaluable experience, I would say.
We have world-class faculty and very active research programs. We work very closely with a number of local companies, and when we have project meetings, we bring our students to the companies. We treasure and we value our time with our students.
We not only just take exam, it's like life practice, like you are working in a real company, in a real life.
Oftentimes, international students are thought of as a subset of the larger student population, but that's not how we think of it here. Not at the center and not at this university. We try to integrate them into the fabric of this campus and the fabric of campus life.
I felt really welcome when I came to UWM. I think new friends that I met here, it's really helped because I built my new community here.
Are a cultural kind of person. There's lots of cultural stuff happening. If you like adventure and sports, there's plenty happening at that front as well.
It is such an experience, the intensity of the seasons. You don't see it in many other places.
It was a big shock, but at the same time I was so excited to go out and then start touching the snow and playing with it, but yeah.
I could have moved to other places in the US, but I like the culture of the people, the culture of the organization. I think the trend on this campus is care. I want to be here, and I can just hope that the international students who come here will have exactly the same experience that I had.
选择这里不会错的。
我们学校提供最好的学习环境。
Saya harap teman-teman bisa datang ke UWM dan kita bisa bertemu suatu saat.
Gemoedelijk.
Milwaukee ongelkaga katterdrukken.
Sebagai UW-Milwaukee Chancellor.
Now, clearly, we have a lot of challenges facing us today, but I think we all know that if we continue to work together, we can all be part of the solution to make sure that UWM has a bright future going forward. And you have my commitment as your chancellor that we will do everything we can, our administration, to make sure that you, the staff, the students on our campus are successful. Thank you, and we'll open up for any questions. Okay. Question. I think they're going to bring a mic around to you. Well, maybe. No.
So MPS has a problem because they aren't graduating enough students, and not enough students are going to college. We have a problem because we don't have enough students coming to our college, our university. And I know we're already doing quite a bit with MPS, and MPS is working very hard. Are there things that we could be doing that we're not doing, or that you sort of see in the future that you'd like to do?
Well, there's something very exciting going on right now on our campus. And we are really transforming the way that we deliver remedial math on our campus. We have all known the students that come to us that need remedial math, the probability of success in graduating this year is very low. And I couldn't be happier with the math department, academic affairs, their work to change the way we are remediating these students. And I can just say, I was meeting with the provost recently, and he believes that we will have almost 100% success rate of remediating students in math today by using different approaches and different techniques to ensure that students from MPS and other parts of the state that come to us in remedial math will be successful. And if we can get over that hurdle, we will go a long way to helping the students that come from MPS to be successful on our campus. We are also, during this process, is looking at dual enrollment programs so that students that are in high school can take classes that would ensure that if they pass them, they would have the stamp of approval of our faculty so that they could enter Math 105 and be successful on our campus. So I think that's key. Obviously I'm also part of Milwaukee Succeeds, and that effort is working on reading, particularly on third grade reading levels. And I think it's just going to be a long process, to fix the problem. But I am very confident. I can't tell you how excited I am about the work that we're doing on our campus in the area of remedial math and making sure that more students are successful when they come to us.
You have increased the research profile of UW-Milwaukee since you're becoming the chancellor. I'd like to know your plans that how enhancing research can help solve some of the budget problems that you outlined. What are the special steps you plan to take?
Well, as one of the slides pointed out, one of the things we need to strategically invest in are things that are going to bring new revenue streams to the campus. And obviously, when you have research, particularly federally funded research, there's almost a 50% overhead on that we can feed back into the campus. And so one of the challenges, when you have budget cuts, how do you keep investing in things like research that are going to help you grow? And I will just say that one of the things that, first of all, I'm very happy about is the way the campus has stepped forward with this economic incentive program, because I would hope that we could bring almost half of those $22.5 million to UWM to invest on infrastructure for research. But it feeds itself. So as we increase our research, we'll get more overhead that we can invest in other areas of campus, including getting better research facilities for us.
Thank you for that, and thank you for standing so specifically and concretely by shared governance. I think this group really appreciates that. My question is, we and here I'm more speaking of kind of the system, seems so kind of placed in a defensive crouch in terms of how these so-called scandals move forward, and I'm specifically talking about the carry forward. I was curious how that was able to be manipulated, an issue that was a non-issue, and then not only turned around to create an outrage about it that then gave the excuse to pull money, but not only that, but very slickly tied the legislature up into a position where they were defending affordable tuition, and we ended up looking as if we constantly wanted to increase the debt burden on students. So my question with that hanging as an example is, what can we do better to communicate all these wonderful things outside of these halls? What can we do collectively as an empowered group of really smart and really creative people to move our mission forward, particularly in kind of the market, I guess, of public opinion?
Mm-hmm. Well, the one thing I will say is that I am constantly out as the spokesperson of the university talking about the great things happening on our campus and advocating for more resources. And obviously, one of the challenges I face is I feel like I have not been very successful in defending what we have. And so we talk a lot about what are some other mechanisms we can use. And one of them, Lane and you and I discussed recently, is can we have a social media campaign that's really a grassroots effort that we spread out, all of us take part in, sending the messages about the great things happening on our campus. Obviously, we can tell our friends and neighbors and others, but constantly have a perpetual positive set of items that we are constantly putting out in the social media in different markets. And I really don't know what else to say. We seem to be fighting an uphill battle in terms of public opinion, and we need to find ways to turn that around. But I will just say that we just have to keep at it. And if anybody in this room has ideas of ways we can do things better, we're all ears because we know how important it is for our campus. Yeah, here, what did I say?
Is there any new word about the selection process for the new president of the system and where that's going? Do you have any insights that you can provide to us about that?
Yeah, well, I will just say first of all, the selection committee, there's a two-stage committee. One committee is made up of people from the campuses, and the second committee is made up primarily of regents. And those were announced back in August. And just yesterday, the actual solicitation, or maybe it was on Tuesday, came out for the position description for the next president. And if you look through that, I think it's pretty clear that the new system president, what they expect of him is different than in the past. As a matter of fact, there's some terms that I caught on that talked about how that person would be someone who would advocate, in the state legislature for more resources coming to the campus. So it seemed to be, and again, this is just my take on it, a little bit more political position than it's been in the past, and maybe not necessarily for a traditional academic, maybe someone from the private sector or from government, but not necessarily excluding people from traditional backgrounds. But I do think if you get a chance, go look at the position description. I recommend everybody does, that it will be different going in the future.
Some of the most startling figures that were up there on your presentation had to do with the way that the state funds the campuses. And that's a hard one to rationalize. Is there something behind it that we're not understanding about it? And I guess more importantly, what do you have in mind to change the way that is done?
Okay, so I think the bottom line is that the model is very old, and it's been in place, and to go back and change it now is going to be politically very difficult. For everyone's going to see it, particularly when you see the amount that Madison gets per student. If you change it, there's going to be winners and losers. But I'm under the impression, I was at the last Regents meeting when I heard Chancellor Blank get up and say that Michigan charges $14,000 more for an out-of-state student than Madison. And if we just had market value for those out-of-state students going to Madison, I believe that we could do a new model which wouldn't hurt Madison in the amount that they're getting now. And so, I just think we really need to have the campuses incentivized to reach the goals that the state and the system put out there for us. And right now, I don't think, in fact, I would say the current model, I've had other chancellors have said this, that it disincentivizes enrollment growth because it actually costs more to the campus to maybe bring the students on board than they're getting in return for those students. And things like that need to change.
The decline in enrollment is a huge challenge. You've mapped out some things that the university is doing. What can we do as faculty immediately to help that situation?
Okay. Well, obviously, we all can be recruiters. All of us have different connection points in our own communities where we can talk and try to get students or talk to parents of students to try to get them to come to UWM talking about the great things we do. But I think even more importantly is the work we do every day on this campus. I recently just got back from an alumni trip to New York City, and it was very similar to almost every alumni trip I go on across the country. And when I meet, I talk one-on-one with those alumni, they all say the same thing. They all say, when I was at UWM, Professor X changed my life. I looked at life totally differently because of this faculty member. And I've had CEOs say, one CEO spent the first 2 years at Madison, the next 2 years in Milwaukee. And he said to me, when I was at Madison, I never saw my professor. But when I came to UWM, my professor not only talked to me, but they had a personal interest in my success. And so when you're in your classroom and you're doing your jobs and your staff, you're facing these students, just do a great job every day, because that's the best selling point that we'll have that'll help our institution go forward. Oh, yeah, Tim.
I think the kind of grassroots social media campaign that you described or suggested a few moments ago makes sense to me, but given the way that the carry forward was handled and the clear sort of deceptive, to me at any rate, deceptive presentation of those facts to the public makes me think that a grassroots campaign on its own is not going to do the job. We have to be prepared to maybe even go on a more out-front offensive. I'm waiting for the day when the university is taken to task for being totally out of control financially for spending $800 on chairs, which is due to the state contracts we're bound by. We sort of have to do that. And instead of walking down the street and buying one for $50. So I guess that's my point. Yeah. We need to be a little bit more aggressive.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I will just say in response to that is, unfortunately, we don't have much control of the media and what they report. As a matter of fact, when the surplus news came out, that very day I went down and met with the editorial board of the Journal Sentinel for over an hour. And as it turned out, that meeting and our hour-long discussion and an article the next day, on the second page, on one of the very last lines, they had a statement from me, which made me very disappointed. And it just goes to the point that, sure, we can try to get out in front of this, but there are some things that we just can't control, and we will certainly do our best, and I will, and members of the campus, we're all going to continue to advocate for our campus, but, I think that it's a challenge for us. And again, if anybody has any ideas, certainly we're open. Vice Chancellor Lujak, I know, is here somewhere. He would love to find ways that we can better advocate for the campus. Okay, I think I'm going to wrap things up. Thank you.